Hi, my name is Yannis Grimm and I'm the director of Findling. I will be breaking down the trailer for now. I showed my grandparents the trailer, or sent them the link to the trailer, and they then messaged me about, so does she find her car? And I didn't know what they were talking about until I just watched it, because the opening description of some people can't find their car. And now I've realized that that's what they meant. So the opening section, we filmed that last autumn. It's part of a scene where Azra, the protagonist, walks across a field where these figures are kind of caught in time. We initially had the idea of kind of using animation or a green screen to add these figures in, because the way I envisioned it when I wrote the script was that whatever kind of angle you looked at them, you'd always see just the back, or at the very most the side of the face slightly, which means that if she walks along, they kind of have to shift a little bit. That's not gonna happen. We have no time. I'm kind of relying on physics and distance to help me through this. Well, us. So there's multiple sections where I'm just gonna be using B-roll shots, but not in the kind of typical of, oh, we're gonna see the road and then we'll have the same person, the person walk along the same road. It's more of a thing that's inspired by Japanese films and animations, which is this idea of, if you have action taking place in a space, you show the space, but it's not necessarily immediately relevant to the actual location of the action. Have a shot of something in the town, and then it's just a still to kind of establish the space as a constant. And then you can go to the actual space where the action is taking place. It's kind of just a moment of rest. Azra is in this mother's house, and her child has suffered a similar fate to the people in the field. And she wakes up at night and she finds the mother talking to this child. And yeah, this was an interesting shoot because we did it in my house. Not quite done yet, because we filmed with 2 of the 3 people involved in the scene. And my house is quite small, so it's a very narrow kind of shooting thing, and it's also very dark. When you actually see the mother sitting there, the reason we are using a desk lamp as the main light source is because I initially wanted moonlight coming in, which didn't work out that well, because in the process of doing that, I nearly fell out of a window, which was fun. So we scrapped that, ended up having much better lighting than we could have hoped for, so it was kind of lucky. A shot of the boy is one that I actually really like, because you have the kind of back of the head, and he's frozen similarly to the kind of frozen people that I was talking about earlier. In the shadow, his face is really rounded, so you don't have any distinct features in that shot at all, which is something that worked really well. The next shot is Azra walking on the streets, and this is technically within the chronological order of the film, at a point where she leaves her home at night looking for her cat, and kind of as a means to deal with a lot of stress in her life. She walks along and suddenly she notices that there's a man on the other side of the road watching her. I structured it in a way where we have Azra as the point of focus in the shot, and then in the background, just behind the car, you can already see Valley, who's playing the male figure. This was also one of the few shoots where we had 2 cameras, which was really helpful, because we have that one shot across the road, from across the road, which it starts breaking the 180-degree rule a little bit. So the whole kind of perspectives and perceptions of space become a little warped. We filmed at night. We were expecting the road to be empty like it usually is. It took us forever because we had continuous traffic and cars kept coming, and yeah, we ended up creating a tiny traffic jam for maybe a minute because we needed to get the shot done. But yeah. This last section in the trailer with the music is what Tommy, my editor, and I consider probably the most beautiful part of the trailer, because it was nice and aesthetic and we had no issues doing it. But yeah, that's kind of the breakdown of the trailer. I hope that made sense in some ways. Please please watch my film.